All right, we have now completed step 3, which is to analyze the effects of each of the applicable common defect enumerations and to tag them to the hazards that we define. We're going to see shortly that in analyzing the effects, we identified more hazards than what we previously identified at the beginning of the assessment, which is very normal. It's very common to do the FMEA and realize there were more hazards than what we thought. It is a bottom-up analysis. That is typically what happens. The FMEA also identified a few key gaps in the design. One of the more obvious ones is there's no fault or safe state. We know that things that can go wrong, and so there does need to be a faulted or safe state. All right, so let's see what we did here. You can see we filled in the system, mission, company, user, and safety effects. It is not required, depending on the template you're using for a FMEA, your standard. You don't necessarily have to fill in all 5 columns. We have all 5 columns here because safety engineers might be looking at something different than reliability engineers. And so we include all 5. It's not necessary that you complete all 5, but you definitely want to complete the system effect. And then you also want to tag the hazard. So you can see CLA-1, the effect tags to H3, which is the system doesn't operate at low and high end of temperature. So that can definitely happen if the algorithms don't work for the entire range of inputs. So in this example, it turned out that the very first CDE was one of the most important. We're replacing a hardware control that limits the temperature change from 50 to 90. We're replacing it with software. It's entirely possible the software doesn't have that control built in. It might not be checking for inputs below 50 or above 90, and that would be a serious failure. So you can see we've analyzed the failure modes and root causes. Several of these are non-applicable, so we've just noted non-applicable. So you can see here we have a variety of hazards tagged. Let me go back and show you. These are the new hazards that were identified, H through 15. The one thing we added here, since we did have quite a few CDEs that were not applicable, this is just a suggestion, it's not a requirement. We added in a hazard that was actually non-applicable. This way we could get the severity to be set to 1, which is negligible. That's just something that we recommend. It works well. It allows you to filter the severity later. So you can see we have the hazards and the severities for each of our CDEs here. Let's see. Nothing super interesting. And one thing I will point out is that actually there is one interesting thing, and the state related. The one thing that came to light here is that TLSM6, the software is missing a fault or safe state. It definitely is. It's missing one, and it definitely needs to have one because this is both mission and safety critical software. So right now we don't have a faulted state. So that's the problem. The problem is we don't have a faulted state because of incomplete design. So we are going to, and we also don't have a transition to it or a transition from it. We're going to see in the next step that we're going to update the design, not just in the FMEA, but in the design document, and then we're going to assess the FMEA again with this new design.